All right, what's up, y'all? Michael here, another Truth Talk, CoachKrug.com. So my name is Michael Krug. I am a health and fitness coach, and this talk actually came from doing some market research. So I'm revamping my programming. Really pumped about this actually, and I got a lot of good feedback on what it is people want to just learn about and have more information about. So got my fancy mic here, and today what we're talking about is really the basics of exercise, of fitness, understanding how easy really this can be to fit into your life, and also what are we actually supposed to do when it comes to fitness, when it comes to exercise. So I'm going to be really just straightforward here. There's going to be 3 points I'm going to break down. First is the most popular types of exercise. So we're actually just going to go over 3 of the really basic types of exercise that are out there, and really breaking it down to the way that our body is going to react to the exercise, not like CrossFit versus Pilates, that kind of thing. It's really like the actual, like what all of that breaks down into is the different types. Second, we're just going to go really deep into some metaphors around what these types of exercise are, how they work, what your body is going to do, how your body is going to react. And then third, we're going to basically go over how to program exercise yourself. So to make it super simple to understand, you can create a 30 to 45 minute workout that's super effective for you. And obviously, if you want any resources, reach out to me directly. Information should be in the YouTube notes here. So, okay, first and foremost, when it comes to exercise, the way thermodynamics work and the way that our body really exercises using energy to have an energy output. It's, energy in, energy out. How is our body utilizing the energy? And that's what exercise is. So there's really 2 main types that we're going to get into. But before we get there, I do want to touch on the third one, which is flexibility and stability training. And I touch on that one first. It's really the simplest to cover. Obviously, our bodies need to be moving properly for us to get the most out of our exercise. So having stability within our joints, having stability within our movements, as well as flexibility, so being able to get into full range of motion, is extremely, extremely important. It's the third one on my list, but it's the number one thing to talk about. It's actually where I start with everyone, with all clients, even if I'm working with, I've worked with some rugby athletes. We need to be assessing everyone's movement patterns to make sure that we're moving properly. Otherwise, if we start to add weight or bear a more intense load without moving properly, that's where injury can come in. So first and foremost is stability and flexibility. The next one is aerobic, and the third one is anaerobic. Okay, so those are the 3 types: aerobic exercise, anaerobic exercise, and flexibility and stability. Really, any exercise you do can break down into one of these 3 different categories. So let's talk about aerobic first. So aerobic exercise, most often in the contemporary society, we call it cardio. It's cardiovascular exercise. It's really good for the heart, for the lungs, for the circulatory system, for the respiratory system. It builds up our endurance and our strength in being able to do things for a long period of time. So there's different acronyms. People use the LISS, long interval steady state cardio is a recently growing fad. I mean, it's not like it's ever gone away. It's just, people rebrand things. They find new acronyms and they sound flashy and then they throw them out there again. So it's really important to understand with aerobic or cardiovascular exercise that now it's important. It's an important piece of being a human. We need to do this type of exercise. And it's not, depending on what your goals are, and we're going to talk a little bit about what I would recommend depending on what your goals are. It really depends. How much of it you're going to do depends on what your goals are. But it's not like the most effective when it comes to burning calories. Now, I like to use a metaphor here with a lot of things that I talk about. I like to use metaphors in general, but aerobic exercise is like working a job. It's like working a 9-to-5 job, and you go and you put in your hours and you get paid for how many hours you put in. Okay. And, to break it down further, to make it understand why. So aerobic exercise is when our body is actually using oxygen to put forth the energy for the output. Okay. So we're not re-going through the ATP process. We're not utilizing the glucose that's stored in the muscles for the energy. We're just using oxygen for energy, which is great because when it comes to burning calories in the moment, cardio is the best thing you can do. I mean, if you go for an hour run, you could burn, 400, 500, 600 calories, maybe even more probably actually, maybe like 1,000. I don't know. An hour is a long run to me. That sounds like a long time. What I'm trying to say though, is that doing long bouts of cardio is going to help you burn calories in the moment. And that's an important part of being a human, obviously. And like I said, too, the cardiovascular health, our heart health, it's really important. So cardio is great. Now let's flip and go over to anaerobic. So anaerobic exercise is, again, our body is using those cycles, the ATP cycle, and using stored glucose within our muscles for the energy, for a more intense output, but for a shorter amount of time. So most typically when we think of anaerobic exercise, the two that come to mind for people are HIIT, so high intensity interval training. So if you're on a treadmill, that's sprinting for maybe 30 seconds and then walking or jogging for 2 minutes and going back and forth. Or not that long, maybe like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, minute on, minute off. It's really changing the intensity and having the really, really intense and then having a time where your body is resting, recovering. And again, what your body is doing is in that intense time, it's using the ATP for the first 10 seconds and then it's getting into those glucose stores and your muscles are having to recruit energy from inside the muscle. So you're actually physically breaking your muscles down. So you're recruiting energy from those muscles, breaking them down for the energy output. Okay, and then the reason that aerobic exercise is so beneficial when it comes to especially weight loss, both of them are great for weight loss, but I would say anaerobic is even more important, lifting weights, is because when we're breaking our muscles down like that, when we are extracting the glucose from it, it takes a lot of energy for us to consume food and then re-put that glucose back into those muscles. Okay, so if you think about it, again, back to the metaphor of the job, if you're doing cardio, or if you're working a job and you're making money, think of anaerobic exercise as like you're investing. Okay, so you take X amount of your paycheck, 20% maybe, and you throw it into, I don't know, an index fund, maybe some fucking crypto, Doge, whatever the things that the Gen Zs do nowadays. I may or may not be in there, but anyway, you throw some money in there with the understanding and the hope that it's going to, appreciate. And let's use like the S&P because that one's usually appreciating. So you are putting energy in now. And the idea is that you spend this much now, but the amount of calories you're going to burn is more because your body has to physically, again, use energy to rebuild your muscles. And it's going to boost your metabolism too. You're going to notice like your digestion will get better. You might even notice you're more hungry after anaerobic. I mean, I guess after both exercises you will be. But that's the way I like to look at it, is from that thermodynamic standpoint, which thermodynamics is, again, just energy in, energy out. It's just calories. In the moment, the cardio is going to burn more than the anaerobic, but over the long term, with the anaerobic, your metabolism is going to be jacked up for the next 24 to 36 hours. I don't mean jacked up like bad. I mean jacked like it's going to be through the fucking roof. Okay, so if your goal is to change your body composition, if your goal is to lose some belly, a lot of us want to lose some belly fat. We want to get some arms, whatever it may be. Doing that type of anaerobic exercise is super important, and you can get similar effects. If you really like the treadmill, instead of just doing it, like walking for 30 minutes, try doing sprints and then slow down, or even the elliptical, like go really hard for a little bit and then slow down. Even on a bicycle. Those things are going to force our bodies to recruit that glucose from the muscles, the ATP cycle, to be able to keep going. So I've kind of beat that, whatever that was, over the head a little bit. The last thing I want to talk about is the different types of movement and how you can actually just, you can listen to this, and I my hope is that you would feel decently confident in creating a workout plan after, especially if you're watching the video, because I've got my water bottle as a weight here to show you. So there's really, I don't know, it depends on who you talk to, but in my mind, there's 7 kind of basic movement patterns that our body does. And 4 of them are with the more so upper body, and the other 3 are with the lower body. And I'm just going to go over those. Again, you can look at different sources and find different information. But when it comes to, I guess, more of a, not bodybuilding, but more of just an overall body composition standpoint and activating all of your muscles. Because again, if you are able to recruit more of your muscles, for example, doing total body workouts, so if you're doing squats, shoulder presses, push-ups, planks, all these things, if you're engaging more of the muscles, well, that's more muscles that you have broken down, that you have depleted the glucose from, that are going to need to get built back up, rather than just doing a traditional like just legs today or just this. So I'm all about doing like 3 times a week, at least 30 to 45 minute total body anaerobic types of exercise. So the planes of movement, the first one, if you're watching the video, great. If you're just listening, you can kind of paint a picture in your mind. So I have this weight, my water bottle. The first one is going to be an overhead push. So I am taking weight from maybe shoulder level, or, you know, if you watch Olympic lifters, they're going from the ground, but the end motion is them always pushing something overhead. Okay, that's recruiting a lot of muscles for stability, especially in our core and our back and our glutes even for stability. And obviously our shoulder is more directly recruitment for this, as well as our chest. So the overhead push, and then the opposite way, and most of these have like an opposite type of movement. Like you're pushing weight one way and then it's pulling weight the other way. So going from overhead and then pulling the weight down. So whether that's like a lateral pull, if you're doing pull-ups. So, you know, with this one, with the push, we were using the chest more and the shoulder. With the lateral pull, we're actually using a bit of our traps. We're using our lats a lot, as well as, you know, our glutes and our abs even. So again, all of these planes of motion are recruiting, they're compound movements. So they're recruiting a lot of different muscles. And some of you may be familiar with the understanding of compound, primary and secondary movers. I can make a different video about that. If you have questions, reach out. I'm not going to get deep into that right now. But just understand that, you know, we're not just doing like a bicep curl. It's not just singularly, like, it's not just one muscle. There's a lot of muscles being recruited for these. So we have the overhead push and then the overhead pull. So that's 2 of them. Next, we have the horizontal push and pull, right? So probably the most common horizontal push is going to be the push-up or the bench press. Again, you're recruiting your abdominals. You're really firing up your quads. A good bench press, you're using your legs quite a bit. I realize I should probably talk into the microphone instead of turning sideways. So it's a horizontal push, okay? And then the other one, obviously, is a horizontal pull. So whether you're doing inverted rows, where you're upside down, you're pulling yourself up. If you're using like a machine, like a row machine, those are the 2 horizontal plane movements for the upper body that we're going to use. And again, when you're doing these, and we'll talk about it at the end, but being able to figure out like how can I incorporate these all into one workout so you can get the most bang for your buck. All right, the next one, excuse me. Next one's going to be squats. So that's bearing the load from above and bringing it down, and the resistance being on the way up. Okay. So, you know, it's really simple. Back squats, you know, with the bar, if you're holding a dumbbell, even just body weight squats, the resistance is on the way up, right? So we're pulling it down. Deadlifts are a little bit, they're same, but different. Maybe I'll just make a different video about that. But that's a big one, is the bearing the weight with the legs. That's, you know, squats. The other one too, so that's 5. The next one there is lunges. So that's more of a bilateral movement, and it's teaching us to recruit muscles differently while still using our legs. So lunges is a big one. I have a lot of my clients doing lunges. If you have ever done a workout program with me, I guarantee lunges are in there, because, you know, squats are really important, and bearing loads from the up down with just, you know, both legs being kind of even is really important. But understanding that our bodies are dynamic and that our legs are supposed to move opposite one another for movement, being able to train and kind of utilize more of stability muscles while we're doing that is really important. And then the last one I want to talk about, where the deadlifts kind of came in, is the hip hinge. So, you know, it's just what it sounds like. You're standing, your knees are bent a little bit, you're bending at the hips, and then you're recruiting your hamstrings and your glutes to get back up. There's a couple other ones out there that, again, this is just more of a basics video. A lot of people were asking, you know, how do I know what to do when it comes to my goals? So no matter what your goals are with fitness, this is kind of, you know, it's not a trick question, but, you know, which one's better? Well, you need to have both. It's not really, you need to do this or that. You need to be doing both. And what a good workout program is going to do, it's going to increase your overall body strength. So your muscles are going to get stronger. It's also going to increase your cardiovascular endurance and strength as well, so that you'll be able to go longer, okay? Strength and stamina go hand in hand. So a good workout to me looks like a 5-minute warm-up. So you're doing maybe the row machine, you walked to the gym or jogged to the gym, walking on the treadmill, whatever that may be. We want to get our muscles activated. We want to get blood flowing. And then I want you to spend, and this is, let's say it's a 45-minute workout. So you got 5 minutes to warm up and then spend about 10 minutes of mobility. Now, a lot of us have chronically tight quadriceps. We have kind of over lengthened hamstrings that aren't as strong as they're supposed to be. Our glutes are really tight. We're not activating those properly. There's a lot going on with mostly our pelvic region as a society because of computers, because of sitting so much the way that we have just created, work as the way it is. And today, I mean, I'm a personal trainer and I'm sitting on a computer 8 hours a day too. I mean, it's just like there's not a ton of industries. Honestly, like one of my good buddies is a carpenter and he gets a good workout every day. I don't know. It's just the way, it's just the nature of how life is right now, right? So a lot of us have that more lower crossed. Our pelvises are tilted in the way where it shouldn't be. So spending some time specifically with our lower body and extremities is really important to get warmed up, as well as our upper body. Opening up the chest is really important. If you want to have movement resources on doing these things, just shoot me a message, let me know. So you have 5 minutes to warm up, 10 minutes to stretch out. So that gives us 30 more minutes. So if you spend 20 minutes doing what I call an AMRAP, excuse me, that stands for as many rounds as possible or as many reps as possible, you're going to get a hell of a workout. And if you just break it up, let's imagine you got some dumbbells. So one of the workouts I do all the time, and if you're watching the video, I'll kind of try and show it, but I'm going to start with, I take those dumbbells up to my shoulders, front rack position. I'm going to do 10 squats. I'm going to go down. I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Okay, so I've already got the weight-bearing squats in. I've already got my chest horizontal push in. From there, you do the push-up and then do a renegade row. So that's pulling the dumbbells up from the ground. So that's going to be your horizontal pull movement. Then you stand up, do a bicep curl, the overhead press. Okay, that's doing also, it's a secondary for that horizontal pull as well as a push. Then from there we go and we do some dumbbell deadlifts, so just the hip hinge, and then maybe do a plank and then mix in some lunges. Again, it's super simple. I can even throw an example workout. I think I will. I'll just throw an example. I'll write out an example workout in this YouTube video. I mean, this is what I do. And I'm someone who I've worked out, man. I was doing powerlifting for a while. I've done a lot of Olympic lifting. I've done, calisthenics. I've done all the things. And I just realized, like, if you can just move your body in these 7 different planes of motion, especially when it comes to a body composition standpoint, if your goal is to lose body fat, to gain muscle, and to just, make your body look better, right? I mean, this is all it takes. It's not rocket science, right? It's not like, you have to be doing this exact movement for this amount of time. It's really just getting your body moving in these planes and understanding that doing this anaerobic exercise, depleting our muscles and then building back up, that's going to be super effective when it comes to it. And then you do that for 20 minutes. Maybe you end with 10 minutes of cardio and call it a day. And then you're good to go. Stretch out maybe later before bed when you get home. And you don't have to do that every single day either. At least 3 days a week is what I recommend for my clients. But I'm doing it like 5 days a week just because I really enjoy it as well. That's what I got. I mean, that's really the simplest way to understand how to put together a workout program, knowing that, when it comes to what type of movement, the first and foremost, any movement is greater than no movement, right? So going for a walk is better than sitting on the couch when it comes to our health, and that's just the truth. And then from there, that's when we understand, okay, cardio has a really important role. Strength training, resistance training, that anaerobic style training that's depleting the muscles is really important as well. Find some balance and experiment with it. Again, if you want any resources, I have a free 15 workouts in there, as well as mobility. I have a free plan that's just an unlisted YouTube playlist. I'm happy to share that with you. And there's also, like I said, I'll put an example in this YouTube video. And then too, you get smart if you know you're going to go to the gym 4 times this week. Maybe one day you're focusing more on like the hip hinge and the pull. Maybe the other day you're focusing more on the push and the like loading the squats and the lunges. You just understand, and again, working with a professional helps with knowing this as well. But you just learn, okay, I can break these up a little bit, but I do want to get a lot of my muscles recruited each time. So that's what I got. This is, this is coachcrew.com, talking about really the basics of understanding how to create fitness for your lifestyle, especially if your goals are to lose fat, to build strength. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult. I will say it's not always easy to get to the gym and put the work in. But the basics and the understanding of how to move is pretty simple. So again, I'm Michael. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll include my contact info in the notes. And that's what I got. Until next time, as always, keep inspiring. Thank you.